Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mr. A. And as always, my partner, Sally Sassong, he's here with us. He's definitely here. He's tucked in the green room. We're just getting ready to start. I hope everybody is prepared to enjoy themselves um, and make a connection like we always try to do here on the show. I'm gonna wait a little bit to see people start coming in the room. Then I'm gonna bring my brother on, and we're gonna start this show. I know it's hectic because it's Wednesday. Wednesdays seem to be a little tough, but here at the set, we do what we do, no matter what day of the week it is. And as you can see at the bottom by the ticker, tonight we have Brooklyn's own Rob Phelps, Providence Alumni, and 94 Big East champion. That's right. The first to do it. And you got to love that. You know what that is to be the first? You know what that's like when you break the seal? Whew. It's something special. So tonight we got our guy on here, and we're going to talk to him about what it was like, his struggle coming through and making it to that moment, and everything that he's done afterwards and where he's at presently. Good evening, Miss Johanna Rios. Mr. Johnny Chavez, I see you. Happy New Year, my brother. Thank you so much. Let me see if my guy's ready to come in the room, Mr. Sao. I see it. I see it. Hold up. Let me get this stuff ready over here. Here goes my guy. Merry New Year.
Merry New Year. And it's Saturday. It's not Wednesday.
Look at my days are crossed.
I know. I kept thinking it was like Sunday.
I thought it was Wednesday, bro, for real. I'm like, it's Wednesday. No.
It's Saturday.
Yo.
Saturday special today.
Yeah, for real. Saturday special. Guess what's in the room, brother?
Who's in the room?
The
Joey?
Magic Man, Joey.
Yeah, good, Joe.
Joey, Happy New Year, brother. You know what it is. Mr. Gregory Hill, salute to you. I'm glad that you're all right, you and your family. Happy New Year, brother. Yeah, man. So my days are crossing, man. I'm all over the place, and I'm saying Wednesday.
I know. I was like Wednesday. I was done. We all screwed up, though. Everybody's
for real. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited about our guest today. Yeah, we see you, Joey. You already know what's good. Same to you, my dudes. Let me flash these comments. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to speak to this gentleman today. You know, Rob comes from our part of town, Brooklyn, New York City. You already know what that's like. And we definitely love to profile people from our part of town. It's something special to us, you know. So we definitely appreciate him giving us his time. Mr. Cologne, I see you. We're good. Happy New Year. The big sisters in the room, Millie Mill, and our brother Merrill Davis, part of our we got to talk about that. Part of our educator series, Mr. Merrill Davis, also a basketball coach here in New York or in Jersey. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But he's a native.
What's going on now?
Yeah, man. So I'm really excited about speaking to him. Just being a part of that team, and I believe it was their senior year. Like all the guys, like started five.
A mixed roster.
But, yeah,
we'll get to that. Mm-hmm.
Heavy with seniors, right? So that was, beautiful thing. Get to the end of your college career, and then being able to win it, big moment. And then against the Hoyas. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, the Hoyas team was stacked that year. So, man, I can't wait to have this conversation. Salute, Gotham Ace. We see you, buddy. Happy New Year. Crazy. Yeah, man. Ooh. James Flowers, Happy New Year. Salute. So let's share these announcements with the room, and
yes.
And then we'll start the show. Am I gonna do mine first, or are you gonna do yours first?
You go first.
All right, cool. Okay. All right, let me just share this with everybody. Man, 2020 hasn't been pleasant at all. So,
it's over with. It's over with.
Yeah, it's over with. But before it was over, another legend in the hip hop game, MF Doom, was taken from us. He actually died in October, and they just reported it recently. This is a huge loss because MF Doom, if you don't know, was part of KMD,
Yeah.
Peach Fuzz, Who Me.
Zeb
And
Love X, right? He's the same person. Zeb
yeah,
Love.
yeah, part of me. And what's crazy is when they came out, his brother died,
Right.
DJ Sub Rock, and he was like 14, 15 years old. And this made me think. I was like, wow, these kids were wild young and already putting out music, right? And they had an album. We talked about this in high school, the Black Bastards album that became infamous.
Yeah.
And it built sort of a cult following on the net years and years later. And he somehow snapped out of, depression, homelessness, alcoholism, and created this character, MF Doom. And he just became like a cult legend in hip hop, like an underground legend. Like this dude, excuse me, this guy would just sell out shows, and he was putting out great music. And, if you mentioned his name, he was well respected. So big loss, man.
Yeah.
Very big loss. Mr. Philippin, I see you. Tiny, I see you. Good evening. Happy New Year. Yeah, we had another loss. I'm gonna pull this up for you right now. So hold on one sec. Here we go. Here we go.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
It's my Adrian Tolado's mother, a friend of mine. Rest in peace, Evelyn Ford. My boy Danny Acevedo, that's his aunt. His cousin, his aunt, and we want to send condolences to their whole family. The wake is tomorrow, I believe, from 2 to 4, and 7 to 9:30. Yeah, 2 to 4, 7 to 9:30 at Mangiano Funeral Home, 1701 Deer Park, 112729. And again, it's 2020, man. It's just, they had a few losses in their family. They've been dealing with some tough times, and we just want to let them know that we're thinking about them, and prayers their way.
Condolences to the whole family, man. It's a tremendous loss, and we're with you, and I hope everybody in your family is united and comes together and can send her off properly and in a peaceful manner. So condolences to the whole family, man.
Yeah, man. And everyone that lost someone in 2020, we got 2021's here, and we just gotta keep pushing everybody, gotta keep it going, and hopefully it's a better year for all of us.
Yeah, we got to make it a better year, actually.
Absolutely.
Salute.
It will be a better year.
Yeah, for sure. Salute to Miss Laura Alamo from all the way up in Buffalo. You're near Tiny, Miss Torres. So we appreciate you coming on and watching and hoping to share this moment with us. So salute to everybody in the room. So wow, tremendous guest tonight, Mr. Rob Phelps. I keep saying Rob, I guess it's Robert, but Rob Phelps, part of history, collegiate history, being the first to do it and having such an impact. And we're gonna talk to him tonight about that moments prior, coming up in the hood, because he's from the hood, and everything after. And especially what he's doing now and how he's continuing to sort of give back, which is something we touched on in the preamble. So
let's do it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait. Before we start the show, we got to run it. We haven't been running it. Here we go, people. Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Mr. A, with my counterpart,
Sally Sassong in the building.
And this is the set. We welcome everybody. We hope you are all comfortable, and thank you for giving us your time. But tonight we have a special guest, as always, from Brooklyn, our hometown, our home city, our place of birth and residence. Well, maybe not for Sally, because Sally was born on the island, right?
I was born on the island.
Oh, he's puro boricua, this guy.
Speak no English.
You didn't speak English, so?
Nah, I
What?
didn't speak English, and my Spanish now is terrible.
Ah, that's crazy. But tonight, we're welcoming somebody from New York, from our space, Mr. Rob Phelps from the '94 Big East champion team in Providence, the Friars, right?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mr. Rob Phelps. Rob.
What's up, brothers? How y'all doing?
What's going on, Rob? Happy New Year.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. Happy New Year to you guys, and Happy New Year to everybody that's watching.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Wow. So let's start. We're going to start from the beginning like we always do. So let's start with what part of Brooklyn you're from, one. Two, how did you pick up the love of the game? Who was the one that instilled that in you? And how did you develop your commitment and work ethic and discipline being born in that area and coming up in that area? Like, how did that all come together?
Well, first of all, I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Grew up in Van Dyke projects, and it was tough around that time. Growing up in that space. But what kept me focused with the game, when I first started, like about 12, 13 years old. I just picked the ball up, and like most of us, we play different sports. I was playing a little bit of baseball, a little bit of football, a little bit of this. But then when I got into basketball, it was something that I just wanted to do. And growing up at that time, when you played sports, you didn't really have to be in a gang and all that. Everybody respected the hoopers. So back then, I used to get a pass. You can walk by, I don't mess with Rob. Rob good. He hooping, he going to school. Yo, leave, they ain't mess with me. So I got a little rep, because I played ball and I was good. So they was more so wanting to look out for me. Be like, yo, leave him alone. He good, And that's pretty much how I kind of navigated. I wasn't no tough guy. I wasn't no badass. Don't get it twisted. But I grew up in the hood, but I knew how to navigate. So, I got a pass because I was good at hooping. So everybody like watching me and like seeing me play, and they actually looked out for me. So I ain't really have too many issues in the hood.
Did you have someone bring you into basketball, or you just did it on your own? Like I started.
I was just doing it on my own. Growing up in Brownsville, but then you get the neighborhood. My buddies. I had one of my buddies. I know Joey's on the show. Jason. We used to call him Jelly. He grew up with me in that Brownsville area. I had another buddy named Daryl Scott. He grew up in that area. And then one of my other buddies, Rafael Gonzalez. He was not a ball player, but he was the guy that used to hang around with us. And we used to go to his mom's house, and she used to cook us all the Spanish food. So we used to go there. He lived in Tilden. So we used to always go over there, and after we get finished playing, and his mom used to cook for us. So, we used to have the grandoles and all of that good stuff, So we used to eat that. And then we just go play some more ball. So that was our little community there, and how we stayed safe and stayed with each other. And we just was just playing ball, man, staying out of trouble.
When you go into high school, are you like you're starting to peak a little bit in your talent, or do you feel like you're peaking, like I'm at the top of my game when I get into high school?
Yeah, no, I was getting better and better. When I came in, I went to a school called, anybody that's from Brooklyn, they know 275 in Brownsville. Everybody knows that school. That's where I went to middle school at. It was, real tough. Went there and then went to Nazareth. Now, I originally was supposed to go to Boys and Girls High School, but Nazareth came along, and I was able to, they was able to look out for me and get me in there because my mother couldn't really afford it. So they helped get me in there. And my mother was like, you got Boys and Girls, you got Nazareth. And back then, Catholic school was the prime. That was the prime thing to do. So I was able to get into Nazareth and do really well. It was an adjustment because academically, it was a whole nother level, from where I was coming from. And it was 275 was good, but once I got to Nazareth, it was a different ball game. So I had to really, really focus on my studies and, taking academics real serious. And then when I started learning that you're not going to be able to play basketball if you don't do your schoolwork, I really got focused. So I would love playing. So I made myself do my academics because I wanted to play ball.
And plus the program for boys and girls, Man, you might as well have been going to Erasmus if that was the case.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, but it was a no-brainer. Once Nazareth came along, I was going to Nazareth, and I was ready to make that commitment. And then you asked me who was there to guide me. I had my coach, my middle school coach, then he became my high school coach. His name was Ted Gustis. And people from Brooklyn really who knows basketball, they know who Coach Gustis is. Very well-known guy. And he groomed me and got me ready for that next level. And once he saw how committed I was and how much I was willing to work, he said, listen, if, back then people wasn't thinking going to the NBA. It was all about just going to college, getting a scholarship. And I was like, yo, I want to go to school for free. And he said, well, if you work on this and you take care of your classwork, it can happen for you.
Rob, taking it back to like the middle school, right before high school, were there like after school programs and things like that? Because I know a lot of the defunding stuff that goes on. I mean, we went and we had our after school programs that we played ball and we kind of kept us off the streets. Was that something that was available to you back then?
Yes. I don't know. Like I said, people from Brooklyn, they know. We used to go to the BRC, called a Brownsville Recreation Center, but it's for short. Everybody called it the BRC. We had that program. They had the PAL programs, which they don't have as much anymore. The PAL programs, we did that. Bessie Head had a big program back in the day. It's another program in Brownsville. So back then, there were a lot of programs and things like that to keep kids off the street. And it was all geared around sports because everybody wanted to do sports and it would keep you out of trouble. So yeah, back then it was a lot of programs. We had a lot of programs.
Man, so you are fortunate enough you're basically scouted, so to speak, because Nazareth just doesn't show up at your doorstep.
Yeah, right? they were looking at me, and I was fortunate enough to, they would get things taken care of, to get in school.
How does that work? Is that a full-time scholarship? Is that like, parents have to pay
If someone else was paying for it, I don't know. I know my mother ain't paid for it. Gotcha. I know my mother couldn't afford it. And but I know, it was paid for, and I had to do my job, was take care of my studies. So absolutely. Yeah, but I didn't, as far as me coming out of my pocket, I didn't, my mom's couldn't afford it. No.
So you get scouted and get pulled into Nazareth. You get a full ride, right? Mm-hmm. So now the people in the hood who know you're a talented ball player, they see you go from regular clothes every day, because I'm assuming you was uniform dude, right?
Oh yeah, no. Back then it was church shoes, slacks, button up, all that, all that. You wasn't no sneakers going to Nazareth. It was like you going to church. You had to dress. Yeah, you had to dress like you going to church.
Did they make you take like what do they call that, parochial studies or whatever? Like you have to like get baptized and stuff like that.
No. But you had 4 years of religion. You had to take religion. It's mandatory. You had to take religion. You could not graduate without religion. So yeah, I took a lot of religion classes. Yep.
Yeah, religious studies. That's what
religious studies. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so all your boys and girls, like, are your friends from growing up in the hood, are they like in boys and girls or
different spots? Like my friend Jason, he went to South Shore. My boy Daryl, that I just told you, he went to Boys and Girls. My boy Raphael, he went to Sheepshead Bay. So they kind of got scattered. I was the only one that went to a private school.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yep.
So you get there. Let's say like sophomore, junior year. You start catching your stride. Are things looking better for you? You're developing as a player.
Oh yeah. Because when I first came in, I was one of the guys. It wasn't happening that much, but I was a freshman on varsity. I played varsity as a freshman. Whoa. And I averaged maybe about 14 or 15 points.
As a freshman?
As a freshman, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then when my sophomore year came, that's when I took my stride. I went from 14, 15 points a game to 25 points a game. And then that's when I started getting a lot of notoriety, in the city, and start getting invited to the All-American camps as a junior. So when my junior year came, I was already going to, there was a thing called ABCD camp in Princeton. So I got invited there my junior year, going into my junior year, and I did really well. Came back, and that's when the national, I don't know if you remember this, Sully might remember, Streets and Smith came out, and I was in there as a, honorable mention All-American, and I really just started blowing up. And then my senior year came, and I was averaging like 30, 31, 32 points a game. And that's when the floodgates came in. I was just being recruited by everybody in the country.
What position are you playing in high school?
I started out as a freshman. I was down low. I'm 6'4" right now, but I was like playing in the post. My coach said, listen, if you want to get a Division I scholarship, you better learn how to be a guard, because that 6'4" in the post stuff ain't gonna work. So I had to learn how to develop and be a guard and work on my game, which I tell kids all the time. You can't just come here and show. You have to work on your game. So I went out taking thousands and thousands of jump shots, working on my handle. And when I was getting recruited, I got recruited as a guard. I mean, USC, UCLA, North Carolina, every school in the ACC, every school in the Big East. I mean, the floodgates open. Everybody's Syracuse, all the Big East. I mean, everybody. They was like, yo, they gotta have me. And I made second team All City as a sophomore, first team All City as a junior, first team All City as a senior, and I made third team All American.
So you said that all these schools, I mean, with your average as a senior and all these accolades behind it, what made you decide? Because I'm sure all the schools are offering you a full ride.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Why did you go with Providence?
Because it reminded me so much of my high school. Providence isn't a big time conference, but Providence as a campus is very small. There's only like 4,000 or 5,000 students there. So it's a small campus, but it's a big time. They're in a big time conference. So when I went on my visit, I loved the small environment. This classes were small. It wasn't like my biggest class that I had. I may have 75 people in them, but the other classes was like 21, 22. That was a better learning environment for me. I wasn't going to learn with 300 people in the classroom. So I didn't want to go to none of the big schools. So it reminded me of Nazareth. It was more family oriented, a nice small school. And that's why I chose it. Yep.
Wow. So it's almost like the sword is sharpened at your high school, so to speak, because now you go from, I'm sure you were a young man coming out of middle school, going into high school. Things sort of change. Your mind is changing, your body's changing. Women are definitely, the girls are definitely looking different, right? But you got implanted into this environment that opened up another part of your brain to academics.
Yes.
And it sounds like you took to it like a fish to water.
Yeah, because I knew if I didn't do those things, I wasn't going to be able to play. So you was taking away something that I love. Like, a lot of these kids today, they say they love basketball. I think they like it, but I had to fully commit to it because, I was, struggling a bit academically when I was coming out of middle school because I came into a total different environment. So I had to really buckle down and handle my business, because if your GPA wasn't a certain score, you wasn't playing. Right. You wasn't going to play. So once they said, yo, you ain't playing, that already told me, yo, I got to take my study serious because I love playing so much that, I wasn't going to let no academics let that take it away from me. So I had to grind it out academically.
Wow.
Was Syracuse ever an option for you? Because that's my school, man.
Yeah, my school, man. Syracuse, they was on me big, but like I said, it goes back to what I said. I didn't want to go to one of them big universities. Syracuse, it was just too big, man. It was huge. I was like, nah, it's too big. I didn't want to go there. But they was recruiting me hard. I was recruited by Syracuse, Notre Dame, UCLA. I mean, everybody. So, my because you not got to narrow it down. My final 5 schools came to UConn, Wake Forest, Rutgers, Providence, and who was my Tennessee. And I knocked Tennessee out right away because it was too big. But the reason I chose Tennessee because I love Wade Houston, Allen Houston's father. Yeah. Great guy. So I went on a recruiting visit there, was hanging out with Allen and all the guys. But man, to some people, when they take you to a 100,000 seat arena, they might like that. But man, I said, I ain't going out here. It was just too much, too big. But I did go because I like Wade Houston. He's a great guy.
Yeah, take the opportunity, right? To be with somebody you admire.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Yep. And Sally, shout out to Syracuse, all right? Make you feel better. Shout out to my little cousin up in Syracuse, presently studying finance.
Sherm Douglas, DC.
I know, we used to argue. I remember.
But Syracuse was tough, man. They was tough.
Yeah, the Orange Men have always been, that team. So
Boeheim played freshmen, though. He played You
Yeah,
know, if you were good, you played early. So I
Yeah.
think that's why a lot, they always had good talent going there. But
yeah, yeah. Syracuse was definitely a thorn in my side when we were in school.
So now you make it to this point. You narrow down your schools, and it seems like, again, the familiarity of the environment and a comfortable setting for you, it was a no-brainer to go to Providence.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that they made you comfortable, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah,
I
very,
mean,
very much so. Yeah, I was very comfortable on the visit. Small environment, great guys. And I had great teammates. It was great. I mean, my whole front line made it to the NBA. Austin Crocier, Eric Williams, Dickie Simpkins, Mike Smith. I mean, all these guys. Those are all the guys we played when they all was in the NBA.
so what was it like? Um,
it's a Catholic school, also, right?
yeah.
Yes, yes, yep. Hmm.
What was that moment like when you make this decision and you're sharing this decision with, I don't know what the hell's wrong with my tongue right now, Pause. When you're sharing this moment, did you come from a 2-parent home, or was it just Ma Dukes, or
Just moms, just my moms. Yep.
yeah.
My dad wasn't really around, so yeah, it was just that's another. It was another challenge. But my mother was no joke, so
Yeah,
she
we
wasn't
know.
playing.
So in that moment, what was it like to share that experience with your mom?
Well, this is the funny thing. My mother didn't care nothing about basketball. She
Mm.
didn't care nothing about basketball. Only thing she knew is that it's gonna get me a free education.
Right.
That's it. My mother ain't know nothing about no NBA. When I started playing professionally overseas, my mother had no clue about that. But she know, oh, you gonna go to school for free? I don't have to pay. I don't have to take a loan. You better handle your business. That's all my mother knew. That's all she cared about. But she didn't really know nothing about no sports.
Was there other siblings?
Yes, they didn't know nothing about sports neither. My guy was my coach, Ted Gustis. He was my
Okay.
guy. He kept everything right, and he was a good man. It wasn't like none of these knuckleheads trying to use you this and that. No, God, he was guiding me to the right way I had to do it. Then I had a good mentor, Rolando Blackman. He was
Oh,
another one of my mentors. He used to work out with Ro when he used to come home, and he used to also tell me the things that you used to do. And I also had Doc Naselli. I played for the Madison Broncos, so Doc Naselli, he was another one of my guides. So I had good people around me at the time and guiding me the right way. So that was very important.
Rob, question from Mr. Merrill Davis, and
Yeah.
I want you to touch on this because you mentioned Coach Ted Gustis at least 2 or 3 times. So, how much of an influence was Coach on your life? How much of an influence did he have in your life?
Oh, Coach was a big influence because he wasn't like a snake or a rat. You know how like a lot of these people, they trying to do things for their good. He was really doing it for my good and all the other players that we had. He was a good mentor. Basketball was important, but he always let you know that you use the game. Don't let the game use you. So even now to this day, he's somebody I still talk to about my son and my daughter, still giving me guidance and everything. So very important. You got to have the right people around you, so things can be done the right way.
He was genuine.
Very genuine. Yep, very genuine.
Something you don't find nowadays.
Yeah.
Everybody has ulterior motives.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's a shame. And we really need to be, we need to get back to, being good to one another.
Yeah.
Rob, I don't know about the basketball. Speaking of ulterior motives, because it happens a lot. I see with the baseball recruiting guys now, and the Instagram posts and the stuff they do. And I'm like, this guy's never he's my age, from my era, from the city, and I know nothing about this guy, but yet he's talking like he was this and that. Is that happening in basketball? Do you know, as far as recruiting nowadays with the kids?
Oh, that's I think that's one of the biggest problems now is the social media can be good, but it also can be a detriment now because a lot of these guys, they want followers, they want this, they want that, and they're not really putting in that real work. They'll go out and put a highlight clip up, and they think they've done something. You haven't done anything. You got to put real work in if you really want to be great at something. And I think the social media, everybody's clicking you, thinking that you've done something, and you haven't really. It's false advertisement. That's what I call it. false advertisement. You haven't really done anything. But if you use it the right way, I'm not going to sound like some old man about social media because I use it. I just learning about it. But if you use it the right way, I think it can be very beneficial for you. But if you use it the wrong way, the reality is going to come in because you can't fake it. You can try to fake it, but you're going to have to eventually get on that court with some real dogs, and then you're going to have to answer it.
Sally, I want to reflect on this because Rob, your question led to an interesting answer that goes back to the last 4 athletes that we've had on the show. And that is that the work has to be put in. You have to have a solid work ethic, from Joey Brower to Louis Lopez to Frank Rodriguez to Figueroa. Everybody consistently that has come on has always made it a point to say the work has to be first, right? And you can see the outcomes, right? Because making it to the NBA or playing overseas or MLB or whatever, that's such a feat. It's an incredible feat. And the window is this big, and the members who make it, it's a 1% chance, right? And without the work, there is no accolades or accomplishments or championships or whatever. So, man, solid point for you, Rob, because we keep hearing the same thing. You don't put in the work, you can't, you ain't gonna go nowhere.
It's not gonna happen. The work is everything. And I tell everybody, you can't bullshit it. You can't bullshit. Everybody want to bullshit it, but it doesn't work. You got to be real with it. And the real people that put the work in is going to get the real rewards. I tell that to people all the time. You put the real work in, you're going to get the real reward.
Rob, I got a question.
Yes.
You said you work with Rolando Blackman, right? So that is like a, NBA player, grinder, put in work. Now, when you work, did you feel like, damn, I wasn't working till you worked out with him? Or was it like, no, we're on, I've been putting in the right work. You know what I mean?
Great point. What I was doing was I was putting in work, but I wasn't putting in the work to get to where he's at. I was putting in the work just for now to get me to college. Now, if I wanted to be a pro, I had to work like what Rolando was doing. See, so what I was doing wasn't going to get me a pro. What I was doing could get me in college. Yeah, it was good enough for that. But I wanted to be a pro, whether it be the NBA or overseas. And Rolando showed me how to be a pro. So it's different. It's a difference. Putting in work and then putting in work to be a pro. It's levels to it. You could put in work to be a pro. You could put in work just to get to college. And you could put in work that LeBron James want to be the best of all time. So it's levels to it. Yes. What level do you want to be?
How bad you want it?
How bad you want it, right?
I'm going to ask this question because he said his name. Who's the GOAT, Rob?
Whew. All right.
You taking your time says everything I need to know right now.
Right. You know why? Because I love Michael Jordan. But LeBron is right there, man. Let me tell you why. Because
I opened up a can of worms now.
Because LeBron, early on, everybody don't remember this. Early on, LeBron wasn't a killer. Jordan always was a killer, so that's why I always loved Jordan. LeBron learned how to be a killer. If you think about it, LeBron didn't have that killer instinct. LeBron has always been great, but think about how LeBron turned into a savage. If you want to be that guy, you got to be a savage. He started getting on people. LeBron, remember, he always wanted to be a nice guy, my team, this, that. LeBron eventually started getting on people like, what the hell y'all doing? Why you doing this? Remember,
hey,
Kobe was already like that.
Hey, y'all, what are you doing,
JR? Was already like that. LeBron had to learn how to be like that. So LeBron is right there, but still to me is, MJ.
Thank you for settling that. Folks, we're talking about somebody who has played at the level. So I respect his perspective. I disagree about his savagery, but we can argue that another time. If you're just joining the show, I'm your host, Mr. A, with my counterpart,
Sally Sasson,
in the building. And tonight we're speaking to the incomparable Mr. Robert Phelps from Brooklyn, Brownsville to be exact, member of Providence's alumni and a champ, somebody who has played at the level. So
Big East, when the Big East was the Big East.
Oh, yeah.
man, you know,
Those were the days,
same Big East. I would go to Sully's house. I lived in the first floor. He lived in the third. And this guy would be glued to the TV, like from, the fall all the way through to March Madness, like flicking through every game. He was a Syracuse man. I was a St. John's man. They had like Matt Bruss.
Yeah.
Was it Ronnie Glass?
Yeah.
There was a bunch
Willie
Glass. Bunch of dudes, and we would go and argue back and forth or whatever, right? Now it's different, and the game has changed dramatically. Go back to the moments, let's say junior and senior year in Providence, and think about what it was like to play the game then, right? Do you think those horses running that race would wash the horses that are running now if they played in your sort of era?
Wow, you're making me sound like an old man.
No, because it's a changeover. You know what I mean? It's a change.
No, when I say the old man, it's like your era can't mess with my era. And the reason I say that time, first of all, it was so much. Just the physicality was so rough back then, man. I mean, you had almost blood to get fouled, because remember, back then you could hand check. When you go across the middle, people could bang you and clobber you and wouldn't be a foul. So when I played, you got to remember, I played against Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning. They had Conrad McRae at the time, Red Autry, Ray Allen, Donyell Marshall, Bill Curley, Howard. I could go on and on. This is how great it was. Kerry was there, who's my boy, Kerry Kittles. I mean, it was every game was a problem. And when I say it was a problem, it was rough. So for us to go through the Big East and knock everybody out that year, it was crazy. Because you got to remember, just on my team alone, I had 5 pros. To get to Georgetown, we had to beat UConn. They had Donyell Marshall, Travis Knight, Ray Allen, Kevin Ollie, Donnie Marshall. They had 5 pros. I'm talking about NBA guys. Mm-hmm. Then we had to go against Georgetown. They had Othello Harrington, Junkyard Dog, Rob Churchwell. Right? They had a bunch of NBA guys. So you understand, every team had 3 to 4 NBA guys. This is how good. It's not like that anymore.
Iverson wasn't there that year.
I'm older. Iverson is after me.
He said it. He said he's older. We didn't say that. He said it. You heard him, right?
I'm older.
But still, at that time, that team was stacked.
Yeah, that team was stacked. They had 4 pros themselves. So we had to go through wars to get that championship. And listen, I don't think that they can mess with us, because it was. I'm talking about, when I say I'm talking about the Big East. It was the real deal. It was the real deal.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, I would go, like I was alluding to, I would go up to Sully's house. We would spend hours in front of that TV watching these games. Right. And I would be like, come on, Sally. Like, nah, wait, Syracuse is about to play 5 games later. But, we would sit down and watch the games. But
let me tell you something that's important, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
What's important to what you said is y'all used to watch the games. Do you know what kids do now? They watch highlights.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's why kids don't understand the game. Like you said, you guys will watch game after game after game just to lead up to the Syracuse game. So do you know how much knowledge you guys are picking up and watching and learning? Kids today don't do that. They do highlights. They watch highlights. They don't watch
the game. Yeah.
So think about, this is why the game is a little kind of messed up, because they're not really learning the game. They just looking for the quick crossover, who got dunked on, who hit the 3, but they're not watching the ball movement, the screening, all that. They're not watching the game. Very important.
Even the stat lines, it's like, oh, he had a triple double, and I'm like, yeah, but they were down 40.
Right, exactly. It's
Russell Westbrook's a great example right now. Like, he sits out, the team wins. He's had a triple double every game they've lost.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm saying. It's different, man. It's a different time.
And that's another thing, Sully, and I'm glad you brought that up. We talked about the gameplay and the physicality. Do you feel like now, because team play was more prevalent in the years, that we were growing up, right? And you always had a good player or a star player. But at the end of the day, the game was played in a team setting.
Right.
We want to win the game. We're going to move this ball. We're going to, get our points. We're going to do what we need to do. And I'm sure, especially in college, and Selly used to point that out to me, college ball is way better, than the NBA because, the crowds and the team plays different. And, this all facets of the game are happening, right? Now it's not like that, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like, there are very few teams that play that sort of basketball 101 and, are teams that make impacts. Right. So with the change that's come, and I know that you're also mentoring children and training and stuff like that. It's important for you to sort of deliver that message to them.
Right.
There's
definitely 100%. The game is different, and Selly is 100. I tell this to people all the time. The college game and the NBA game is totally different. I tell young kids, don't watch the NBA, watch college, because that's the closest to high school basketball. Because you'll watch an NBA game and they'll be doing things that you'll never be able to do. They're doing things that shouldn't be done. The whole Harden thing, that's a travel. Because when I was playing, they were called travel. I'm telling you, a lot of things they do now is kind of crazy. So, but it's entertainment. The NBA is all about entertainment. It's more wide open. Exactly. It's about the moolah. But the college game is more team. It's a more impactful game, more closed game. If you notice, the NBA is wide open. Why do you think Michael Jordan, who only averaged 18 points a game, can go to the NBA and average 30? Because the game is more wide open. It's all about entertainment. It's different, So I always tell high school kids and the kids that I train, you go NBA is cool, but if you want to learn the game, watch college basketball. That's the best thing to do. Watch college basketball. Don't watch the NBA. Total different game.
Sully was the one picking up all the knowledge watching that game. I didn't pick up shit. Essentially, I would learn things from him because he was a more student of the game. So my sports understanding growing up would always be something that he would bring forth to me. And then, when we played organized basketball, these are the things that I learned.
Well, that's good. You had an open mind and you listened to somebody that knew what the hell was going on.
Well, you know what? As somebody that
chew their ass out too, if they weren't in the
right. Somebody who didn't realize, that I had a little bit of talent when we played in these leagues. You look for a leader, right? To sort of one, lead you, and two, bring it out of you. And when we played together, Selly, any team we played together on, or whenever he was playing, he was always the one to bring it out of people and lead. And that's what made us good players. When we went to hoop in the park, or if we were playing in these leagues, Sully was the leader, and he would just bring it out of everybody. I'm talking about even the 12th dude on the bench. He would come out and do something, and oh my God, because he was such he had such an understanding of seeing the talent. He could bring it out of players, right? Yeah. So now let's get to the senior year. You were talking about the wars that you had to go through to make that, right? To make that final, Georgetown. Yeah. So in the lead up to your game against them, and I'm sure all the talk was you guys, I may be wrong, was the talk you guys were going to get washed because it was Georgetown and they were so stacked?
Well, we were really good. That my senior year, we were really good. You can go look it up, Google it. We were really good. We were stacked. We had about 6 seniors, and it was an older group, so we were really good. And we already beat Well, we split with them, I should say. We lost to them at their place, and we beat them at our place. So they knew it would be a good game. But you got to remember, Georgetown had the history, of being in the finals and winning. So we were coming in as the underdogs. But we had just beat UConn, and UConn was #1 in the country at the time. So we had a little momentum coming off, knocking them off. So we was hyped. We didn't give a damn who we was playing. We was ready to go.
Momentum.
So we was on a mission. So when we went in, man, we was psyched and we was ready to go. We were just ready to take them out, and we won them because we beat Villanova, and to get to UConn, that was the quarterfinal game. Then we beat UConn in the semifinal game. And you got to remember, UConn was the favorite because they was #1 in the country, and we beat them. That was leading up to Georgetown, and we played Georgetown in the final, and we beat Georgetown.
Rob, how is that? Like, I always thought about this. The Big East tournament, like you just said, you guys had to buy the first round, obviously, right? Because it probably was okay. So you played 3 days straight, right? How's that? Like, I mean, is that you like?
Wow.
It's real serious because when people got to understand, and where people get caught up that you in New York City, so the teams that try to go out and do whatever, they can get caught up. Oh, we want to enjoy the city, yeah. Then we're gonna play in the game. None of our guys went out. We were very focused. You got to remember, I was from here. I could have went to Brooklyn. I could have went to go hung out with my boys. I didn't do any of that. I stayed in the hotel room my whole time. All of us, we stayed in the hotel room. We were very focused. And when I had our trainings, we went to our trainings. Everybody came back. Now we could have left because we didn't really have a curfew. We were seniors, but like I said, we were seniors, and everybody was focused.
Right.
And everybody was just in their room, hanging out, chilling. Once we won that game, we went back, got some dinner, came back to our rooms, chilled out, watched the games on TV the next day. Because it ain't really nothing for you to do, which there is. You're in New York City. It's a lot you could do. But if you're focused, you're grinding it out. We was in the hotel room, focused.
Right.
So we didn't even go out. Now, after everything was over, that was a different story. That was a different story. But during those 3 games, we just chilled out. And plus, you got to rest your body.
Yeah.
You're going through wars.
Right.
You banging. So you had to rest. So you had to, we were in the room resting up. Guys had to get iced up and everything. And we was just in the room chilling.
You could hear it in his voice, so he was locked and loaded. They was in there.
That's serious, man. You bringing me back.
Oh man! So the big dance goes down. What level of intensity is that? Stepping onto the floor and playing that game, like
that's a good question because everybody asks you. You got to remember, it's sold out, 25,000, whatever it was there.
Damn.
When you focused in the game, I don't even realize I'm not paying attention to nobody in the stands. People always like, yo, how do you do that? We're so in tune to the game. I'm not worrying about the fans. You better worry about this guy coming off the screen and running. I got to run and chase Ray Allen, and I ain't worrying about the stands. I ain't worrying about who's this. You don't realize everything is done until the game is over. Then, oh, yo, there's my brother. Oh, yo, there's my boy. That's when you realize it when it's over. During the game, I don't pay attention. I'm pretty sure I don't know who's in the game. You'll see guys pointing and doing all. They don't know what they do. They so excited. They just pointing. Trust me when I tell you. They just pointing at people. They so excited. They don't know because you're so focused. You're so tuned in. You're not really worrying about the fans. It's 25,000 people there. We ain't even worried about in the stands.
Were your assignments? I know you said you played Kerry Kittles, Ray Allen. That.
Robert Churchwell was one of my assignments. Yeah.
Who's that?
Robert Churchwell, really good guy. He played when I played overseas. He was overseas with me.
Okay.
So my assignments was Kerry Kittle, so I had to run around and chase him. But not only run around and chase him, I had to come down and make my shots as well.
Yeah.
So he had to run around and chase me. So it's some wars. There's some wars going on. So we took care of them. Then my next assignment was Ray Allen. I got to guard this dude. And Ray, you see what Ray doing. Ray was no joke.
Shuttles.
So we running around. So we took care of them. Then the next one was running after Rob Churchwell. Then we took care of them. And then all of a sudden, we got a nice seed to go into the NCAA tournament. We got a nice seed to play in there. So it's very, very difficult. But if you love it and you're passionate about it, you can do whatever you want.
How far did you guys go in the tournament? And that
year? We went to Kentucky. We flew to Kentucky. We went back to Providence, and then after that, we had to finish up some classes or whatever. Then we flew to Kentucky, and we lost to Alabama in the first round. They had Antonio McDyess. My boy Jamal Faulkner, who's from Brownsville, Brooklyn, was on that team.
Yeah, I remember that.
Jason Caffey, who played with the Chicago Bulls, he was on that team. So that was Antonio McDyess' freshman year. He gave us the business. Gave us the business.
Wow.
So it was great though.
He shattered his knees. He was no joke, McDyess.
Yeah. He was a monster. He was a monster in college. So it was great, man. It was a great opportunity.
This is bringing back a lot of memories. Listening to my brother here. Oh Jesus! I'm talking, yo, Rob, my man would go on for hours. You know,
I
and
still watch the games here and there.
yeah. But like, just you speaking about these tournaments, the people that you played, how tough it was, and all these different variables that come into the game, it just brings me back to them because again, Stu was a sport.
And then not only that, you're talking about them, and then you look 10, 15 years down the line, and they're in the NBA, and you're like, damn, these dudes is no joke. Those are the people that I had to deal with. So it was tough.
Ray Allen, of course, stands out to us all, I would imagine.
And let me tell you something about Ray, the nicest dude. Ray is one of the nicest guys, humblest guys. You know, you wouldn't think he's a Hall of Famer, this, that, but one of the nicest guys. But he get on the court, he's a savage. He turns into a killer.
He's just Shuttleworth, you know. So now we're done with the collegiate part. College is done, right? What's the next move? Do you have scouts knocking? Do you know what in what headspace are you in at this moment?
Well, first thing I wanted to do was when we came back was I wanted to finish with my studies. And once I finished everything up, I got my degree, finished all my class. I got my degree in sociology, finished up. And all of our guys, all that whole senior class, we all graduated. Everybody graduated on time. So that was great. So yes, scouts started calling. I started getting invites. I didn't get drafted, but I started getting invites to camps. I played in the CBA for a while, but I went to Dallas Mavericks. I made last cut of the Dallas Mavericks, very close to making the team. I was this close. But then I got injured. I had hurt my back. So I had to sit out a while. Then once I recovered from my back, I went overseas, and I actually played overseas for 12 years.
There was no G League at that time, right?
They had the CBA at the time, but their CBA, they really wasn't paying a lot of money. So I just said, you know what? I would have loved to, stick it out, but I wanted to go make some money. So I went overseas, went to Japan, went to Italy, Spain, Switzerland, China, Germany, Australia, made some nice money over there. And I had a great time. It was great. I loved it.
So what is playing basketball overseas like? Like, what are the differences? Because to me, it seems like overseas fans are like just as, or maybe a little more fanatical when it comes to the game.
No, they are way more fanatical over there. It's very crazy, very intense, as you can see. Because people used to always ask me back in the day, "Yo, can those guys really play?" Y'all seeing it now. Those guys can play. And I tell people all the time, don't sleep on overseas. Is no joke. You can make a great living over there, but it's some great basketball over there as well. I was over there for 12 years, and those guys can play, and it's serious, and it's a little bit more physical over there, because over there is the hand checking. You could play back then. You could play with your hands, so it was very physical over there. Then they brought the hand checking in over here. That's why these guys can do so. You can't touch nobody. That's why these guys can score so easy. Luka said it. If you listen to Luka last year, he said, "Oh, it's a lot easier over here because as soon as you touch a guy, it's a foul. Over there, it could be way more physical in Europe. It's different. It's a different game."
That's why I laughed. Like when they, I forgot what team was. They were trying to beat him up. Might have been the Clippers or somebody. They were trying to beat him up, and I'm like, that ain't gonna work with him. This guy's been playing. He's been playing men since he's like 16.
Exactly, and he's used to the physicality, so that's why he was laughing at it. It was nothing because it's a lot more physical in Europe.
No, he's a beast. He's a beast.
Rob, what was the team that you played for specifically overseas?
When I was in England, I played for a team called Newcastle, the Newcastle Eagles. If you know soccer, they call it Newcastle United. Newcastle is a very big brand in England as far as soccer. They call it football, but as far as soccer, Newcastle, they're in the same division as Manchester United, Liverpool, and all of them. So it's a big club. It was very nice because the money was good over there because they were sponsored by Newcastle, so the money was great. Then I played over there for 2 years, and then when I went to Japan, I played for over there. You play for the company, so Samsung, Hitachi, Panasonic. So the team I played for was Hitachi. Big, nice money because you playing for that company, so it's nice over there. Yeah, you pay for the company's team, and they sponsored everything. Really, really nice. So it was over there for 2 years. Then I went to Switzerland, Lugano. I was over in Lugano. It was right next to Milan, Italy. I was there for a couple of years. Then went to Germany for a year, Australia for a year. Finished up in Cyprus, right next to Greece. Cyprus, it's right next to Greece. It's a small country right next to Greece. Beautiful. Never gets cold. It usually stays about 60 degrees. There's
Nice.
no winter. They have no winter over there. So I was over there for about a year. It was beautiful. Great
I like
food.
that.
Nice. Yeah, it was
Oh,
nice.
we're skipping the most
Sweater weather.
we're skipping the most important question right here.
Yeah.
Around how old are you at this time?
Oh, 20. It all started. I was like 25.
You're 25 years old.
Yep.
You're 6'4". You're in peak physical condition.
I know where you going, man.
Were they hanging off of trees? Were they waiting in the lobby? I gotta ask. I just
Yeah, no. Listen,
Is there little Phelps laying around over there?
Nah, it was very. Listen, let me tell you, it was beautiful. That's all I'm gonna say. It was beautiful. Nice time. Women were everywhere. You gotta listen. Women were everywhere. I was a young guy at the time, but remember, I also was very focused because you got to remember, as the American over there, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, they will send your ass home.
Quick.
So you had to go over there. It's good to enjoy yourself, but a lot of times that was game dinner. I went back to my house, game dinner, back to my house or my apartment. You know, I ain't gonna sit up here like I'm no dork or nothing. I went out a little bit, but when it was game time, listen, everything is shut off. I'm focused. I'm going through my routine. Eat, sleep, rest. Eat, sleep, rest. That's it. And when I say rest, I mean you don't have to sleep. You just got to get off your feet. So you got to just rest your body because you got to take care of your body. And that's how I was doing. If you want to keep them checks rolling in. So if you want to go over there and just think it's about partying all the time, they will send you home. Because as the American, you got to handle your business. You got to put up 20 and 10. You got to put up 20 and 5 every night. No excuses. If not, we get another American that can do it.
Wow.
That's the business part of it.
Yeah.
Of course. And you spent how many years playing overseas?
12
years?
Yeah, 12.
Man, respect to you, kid.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Did you come back and forth? Like
yeah, I would sometimes I would stay, I would go over and I would then I come home, just stay. I would just stay there and just chill, have my apartment and just work out there. And then sometimes I would come home, chill, see my family, come home for a couple of weeks and then go right back. Because some countries, they would pay you year round. So if I signed a 2-year deal, they would pay me in the summer. So I would get checks in the summer all the way around. And then I would go back. And remember, this is tax-free money. You don't pay taxes on that.
What?
Yeah, you don't pay taxes on that.
No wonder your man from Coney Island is out there living his
Yeah. Stephen, you don't pay taxes on that. That's tax-free money.
Okay.
Yo, so we gotta move the podcast.
Yeah, tax-free money. So I saved up
5 from Australia.
Yeah, but see, what people got to understand, you got to be smart with your money. You know, you can't be going out here flossing, doing all that. I was able to save up, help take care of my mom's, get me a house. I did things the right way. Some people be flossing. Don't get me wrong. I splurged. I got me a whip. I did this. I did that. But mostly I invested. I put money away. Had stuff for my daughter put away and saved up. And I'm able to live a comfortable life now because I did things the right way. So people got to understand
that because I was hearing something the other day about NFL players, like 3 years when they retire, like 3 years later they're broke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sure there's so many other athletes that go through this, the pro level, they don't get taught money management, stuff like that, because we never got taught that growing up. I mean, we're looking to have people come on this show and teach people how to manage their money.
And I think that'd be a great thing. And once again, I was educated. I'm gonna say this is what we talked about in the beginning: getting the academics, getting the education, getting the self-awareness. I didn't know nothing about financial literacy. I had to learn. I taught myself. I knew how to put things away. I learned how to invest. I bought properties. I have properties at different. I learned all that stuff. So it's bigger than just sports, and that's why I said, passing it on. So I had to learn that stuff, and it was a great thing I did that because look at the world now, and now I'm more comfortable, where I can, take care of myself and my family.
It's funny that you brought that up, Sally, and it's funny that Rob sort of went into that whole subject. So I wasn't having a conversation. Let's just say two people were having a conversation, and one of these two people is from the upper echelon of society, and he was ranting and then specifically it was NBA players about how these people, he doesn't understand how these people after they get all this money, go out and buy these cars and jewelry and, you know, what are they going to do with that? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I wasn't in the conversation, but they were in my area. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be Nosy Perez right now. I let him finish his sentence. And I was like, well, it's about education. And he snapped his neck at me like, who's talking to you? And I'm like, yeah. I said, you're talking about men that grow up in different environments where our environment teaches us about survival.
Right.
We're not learning or being educated about financial literacy and what it is to invest and futures and long-term investments. We're just trying to survive. And we just so happen to be talented that we're able to rise to this level and play for NBA teams. So when you see somebody buying, 5 foreign cars or gaudy jewelry, that's a sort of a symbol for them that they feel they've accomplished and reached a certain level. If we're not educated from young and understand what finances can do or are supposed to do, how do you expect, these people, as you say, they're going to act? And it's not in the NBA's interest for the players to be financially literate, because then what would happen? What if all the players got, a pool together and started their own hedge fund?
Right.
Well, you could kill the NBA.
Started their own league.
Yep. Started their own league. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I was sitting there and I was like, I just want to kick this dude in his throat right now, because he doesn't understand what it is to grow up in the environments that we do.
Right.
And instead of saying these men come from environments that are under, they're depressed economically, there's all these obstacles that these men have to go through and still be able to rise to the level, Rob, that you did, to come out of the hood, right, and go to Nazareth, and then to propel yourself not only from an athletic standpoint, but from an academic standpoint. Most guys, and Sally, you know what I'm talking about. Most guys, when they start playing, they have to go to college and play at that level. What happens? They flunk out because all they care about is a sport, and they're not saying to themselves, yo, listen, I have an opportunity here. If I keep my grades up, I can get a degree and have a full ride and possibly make it to, as a player. So I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, I'm your host, Mr. A, with my counterpart,
Sally,
you know who it is. And we're talking to our brother here, Mr. Robert Phelps. And he's told us all about his rise from the hood in Brooklyn, our place of birth, where we all, love, and making it through middle school to private school to the collegiate level, winning a chip against Georgetown, and then playing overseas and having the wherewithal to invest his money and take care of business financially to bring him to where he is at now, to have a comfortable life for himself and his family. So, Rob, where are we now? Let's talk pre-COVID. What are the things that you're doing with yourself and how you're able to stay so grounded, and not only that, but giving back and reaching back? Like, what are the things that you're involved with?
Oh, well, number one, not only did I get my my bachelor's degree, I got my master's degree in education as well. So once I finished playing ball overseas, I came back and I was like, I love being around kids. I want to get into coaching. So I actually work at Bedford Academy High School. I'm the dean there. I've been there for 15 years. And I went back and got my master's degree in Brooklyn here. So I'm back in Brooklyn, and been there 15 years coaching, mentoring kids, training kids. A lot of kids that I've coached now, I tutored them, and they have moved on, went to college, and had opportunities to go play overseas, and they have kids, and it's like I feel like the old man now. So I've been doing this.
Give me a second. Bedford Academy. Now that sounds like a gentrified name. There was that another school before, or was it?
No. It's always been Bedford Academy. It's in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. It's always been Bedford Academy. It's a great school.
How long?
400 kids. About 400 kids. I've been there 15 years. The school's been around about 17. So it's relatively a new school. It's been around for a while. This is my 15th year, and I love it, man. The kids are great. I coach there, do a lot there, have a lot of fun with the kids, and we have 100% graduation rate. 98% of our kids go to college and graduate from college. They do. You can look it up. You got your Bedford Academy. So it's a great school. It's right in Brooklyn. And speaking of gentrification, it's right in the gentrified area. So things are changing over there. Bed-Stuy is changing a lot. So if you don't know, Brooklyn is changing, right? It's changing a lot. So I tell kids all the time, get on your grind, man. This is not a game. Get that education because things is changing. There ain't nobody waiting for you. So I talk to kids all the time. You must be on point. Don't make excuses. Don't blame nobody. Don't point the finger. It's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. Everything is in front of you. You're in control of it. Take advantage of it. And I tell kids all the time, I grew up in the crack era. And if I can come out and do it, you guys got all this technology. You got this, you got that. And of course, don't get me wrong. I know they have different challenges. But come on, y'all know how we grew up. It was real tough back then. And if I'm able to go on, get my bachelor's, get my master's, be focused, do all the things I had to do, you guys can do the same thing. There's no excuse.
It's funny that he brings that up, so. Because if you think about it, just surviving that era, right? Because, you had shootouts and people getting hooked on drugs. And, it was just being able to survive, and not be a statistic, not end up in jail, not end up caught up, period. It is a feat in and of itself. But to exceed and live to your potential, that's a blessing, man. And it speaks to, your commitment, your discipline, and being able to have the foresight to say, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. And I commend you for that, man, because there's a small percentage of us that are able to really seize upon an opportunity and make the most of it. And now you said you were the dean of the school?
Yeah, dean of the school, 15 years.
Them kids must be shook.
I trust me, I don't have no problem. See, but the great thing, once again, let's bring this all the way back. All they parents know who do you know who that is? Yo, that's such and such. So once again, the automatic respect comes. So I don't really have no issues because and then the kids, they start Googling me. Oh, Mr. Phelps, I didn't know you was this. Seriously, I didn't know it was that. They look me up and they do the research. And the respect comes, so I don't really have any issues. And then if it get crazy, let's go on the court. I'll bust you up real quick, and that's silence everything.
Still got the old man game.
I still got it. I can still walk, I can still run. I'm still in great shape, so I get them out on the court. And that's one thing I love about sports. Sports, right, automatically will get you that respect. Like I said, back in the day when I was growing up, sports kept me right. I ain't had no problems. Sports now still keeps me young and youthful with these kids right now and keeps me connected, so it's great.
I could see Rob in the gym with the kids running down the court like Obama, right? That slick.
I still got it, man. I can still shoot. If you can shoot, you can always shoot. You can always shoot. So that's great.
That's crazy. Oh, man. Dean Phelps at Bedford Academy. Google him. Go find out who he is. Man, so I want to say this too, that we're sort of like on this note. People, if you're watching the show, the most important thing that we want to sort of convey to the audience and want everybody to understand is that, you see Rob here and he's telling his story, but in the midst of him telling his story, you feel the connection. And you understand his come up because at some point in your life, he and his experiences align with yours. I'm sure you grew up somewhere in the hood. I'm sure you remember the crack era. I'm sure of all these things. You probably experienced them as well. But the beautiful thing about Phelps is he hasn't lost himself in all these accomplishments. He stayed 10 toes down and he's a real dude. And look, I believe it was like one reach out. We got him on the phone and he was more than willing to come on and share his story with us. And that is the most important part of this show, making you understand that stop being so damn starstruck over these people. We're regular folks. We go through the same things, and we're all trying to live and take care of our families, and have some fun along the way and share some laughs. But as you can see, this brother is super relatable. He's from our part of town, and he hasn't become arrogant. Let me just say that. And here at the show, we want you to understand that everybody that comes on here is showing love, genuine love, right? And they're bringing their stories to you so that you can make a connection with them. And tonight, Mr. Phelps, man, I can't thank you enough for being so open, candid, and honest about the things that you went through. I mean, the story is amazing on so many levels. And then being able to come back to your neighborhood and become the dean. How did that? Let me ask you that. How did that happen?
Well, I'm really quick. I was at a middle school, and I was teaching history for a bit. And what happened was the dean that was there was retiring. And like I said, all of the parents, they knew me. So they were telling the kids, do you know who that is? Blah, blah, blah. Do you know who that is? That's it. And they were like, nah, he can't play. So one day it's funny, a teacher student game. Went out, we played, I bust everybody up. And all the kids was just automatic respect. So the dean that was retiring told the principal, there's your dean right there. That's your new dean right there.
Wow.
He relates with the kids respect him. He's fair, he's honest, he's genuine. That's your dean right there. And that's how I became the dean of a middle school and then moved on to high school. Yep. That's how it all started. And once again, through sports, through basketball. Yeah. That's how it all came about.
I was just going to say that. It was through sports as well. Wow.
The foundation. But your mom, too, is very, your mom being a single parent, that's, a lot of guys could take the easy route, be like, you know what, like yourself, Frank Rodriguez, there's certain guys that, they put the work in, mom's is struggling, she's doing her thing, I'm gonna do this right and take care of the fam. So you learned early, to be a man. So
thanks, appreciate that.
I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds, but I want to ask, is your mother still with us?
Thank you for saying that. My mom's actually passed last year. This right here, February. This February coming up is going to be a year. Yep, she passed last February. Yep. So it'll be a year coming up. But thank you for asking anyway. I appreciate it.
No. Of course, this is a club none of us want to be in.
Yeah.
Sorry for your loss, man. And salute to her because
she was no joke, either, man. Yeah. She was no joke. My moms did not play. She would go upside your head in a minute. And the people out there that can relate know the moms that will pick up a shoe real quick. Boop. That's how my mom's was. She did not play around.
With us is the chancletas.
Yeah.
That's right. So I'm pretty sure everybody can relate to that.
It's funny because you saying that one night we were out, there was something happening on like down the block from our house. I think we were like in our early 20s. Yo, Rob, my mother came out in her house coat at 2:30 in the morning. And my man's tapping me on the shoulder. He's like, yo. And I turn around and I just looked at her. And I'm 22 years old. I work. I'm taking care of myself. I didn't even say nothing. I just walked up the block. I just walked. They were laughing at me. I was like, yeah, all right. Wait till your mom's comes out the house. If she
still had that maternal fear that my mom's is out. Yo, I already know. Let me be quiet. Keep it moving. That automatic respect.
The instant respect, because you know why? I'm not trying to play on that line that if I say or act funny, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Something's gonna come flying. Something's gonna come flying.
That quick white flash that you you like, oh shit, what was that?
That's right.
But salute to her, man. She did an amazing job. Your character, the way you carry yourself, how you speak, everything that you've done and everything that we touched on, man, it's just, you see it through and through. The foundation.
I appreciate it, man. And thank you guys for having me on, man. And guys doing a great job with your show. You ever need help with anybody else coming on, reach out. I'll get them on, man. I'm gonna let them know you guys doing a great job, man. I appreciate it.
But listen, don't go anywhere. Stay tucked in the green room because we got to talk before we close.
No problem. I ain't going nowhere. I'm here.
All right. Mr. Rob Phelps in the building.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Stay tucked, brother. Stay tucked. Yo.
Good
Yo,
show. Another one down. Good show.
Listen, man. Listen. That brother.
Yeah. He's gonna be running politics soon.
For city council, maybe.
Well, we got somebody coming to work on that already. So
Yeah. Oh man, people, I'm telling you, pay attention, stay tuned. There are so many different things coming to the show. My brother and myself, we're gonna continue to bring great content to you, but I'm saying, do not fall off. There's so much more coming to the show. And we just want to make sure that you can have a little of everything. You can have some serious dialogue. You can have some laughs, and it can be thought provoking, so it can make you think. But just stay tuned, man. I mean, so we got a party going on in February, no?
Yeah. February 7th from 4 to 6. We got the virtual Super Bowl party. And got the raffles going. Got the Super Bowl box, $100 right now.
Yeah.
Score changes. We got multiple score changes. A lot of ways to win. We're gonna have some makeup raffles that day
for the ladies.
The ladies. So y'all can stay tuned. We're gonna have some live DJ spinning sets for like 15 minutes a piece. Just bring your own beers, guys, because we can't do nothing.
Yeah, we can't do nothing about that. Yeah. Yes, Miss Morales, one of the best moms in the world.
Oh yeah,
definitely. But anyway,
tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Champ. Zab Super Judah.
Listen, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Zab Super Judah, the native of Brooklyn, is coming to the set. Listen.
Thank y'all for joining us on a Saturday night. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, the Set 6145 on YouTube, on Facebook, please.
Instagram, and Twitter. We will see you people tomorrow for those who are tuning in.